In this video I'm going to show you how to clean very dirty vinyl records. You're going to need soap. This is actually a moisturising cream bar, which I prefer to use in normal household soap. You're going to need water. You're going to need cotton wool, kitchen towels to dry, PVA glue. This is supermarket type kids PVA glue. It's not as strong as the stuff that you get from DIY shops. You're going to need paper, regular paper, don't use newspaper or tissue paper. You're going to need scissors to cut your paper, and right at the end you might need to use duct tape. This is a cheaper version of duct tape. It's not as sticky as some of the more expensive brands. Okay, here's a record which is Sonny and Cher's I Got You Babe, and it is very dirty. I don't know if you can see that. You can certainly see on this side there's a whole load of muck on that side. So anyway, a dirty record sounds something like this.
Love each other, baby. Now all that's all. But I can't get it out of my head. Your skin's so soft, baby. Your skin's so soft.
Right, okay, we'll get cracking on this. It's fairly simple. Just take a small bud of cotton wool and wet it. Get some soap on it. Nice bit of soap there. And just rub it into the grooves. A bit more soap. These UK pressings are quite good. It's got a paper label, but because it's a UK pressing, it's not going to be so detrimental to the label. The labels are fairly tough. It's advisable not to get the labels completely soaked, but even if they do get quite wet, it's usually all right. This record's kind of beyond what people would normally want to pay lots of money for. It's only a cheap record, and of course it's not worth much in the even if it was in mint condition, it wouldn't be worth that much. Practice on an old record anyway. So that's been washed on that side. Look at the dirt coming off. It's just got some bit more water, more soap, and do this side. Let's pick apart this thing. It's going to pour water. Right, so there it is, covered in soap, both sides, and then we just get more cotton wool, quite a wedge of cotton wool. So a nice big wedge of cotton wool, and we're just going to mop that off. All the way around. Do keep changing the water because it. Some people put them under running tap water. I don't bother because this is just as good. The water hasn't got to be hot. This is just tepid, cold water. It's not warm. It's not hot. Right. So there it is, fairly soaked. And then just put it down on some tissue paper and put the tissue paper on top. Right, so I'm now going to show you how to put glue onto a record and clean it with glue. These are just strips of paper which I've just taken and cut. Clean paper, quite good quality. It's just general A4 paper, but it's clean and it's good quality. What you're going to have to do is cut little diamond shapes. Well, I don't know if you can see that. You don't have to be exact. There, I'll do. There are bits of paper, soft to one side. That's our record, which I have just washed. The water on there is not really going to be too much of a problem because PVA is water-based, so it's not really going to cause that much of a problem. It's looking clean already, but I want to go for the maximum effect. Right, okay. So we're going to use this PVA, kids PVA. It's going to put a whole bunch of PVA on there. I'm not going to get it on the label because that's just going to be problematic. But rub it about onto the grooves. Make sure it's in all the grooves. Right. Okay, so that's nicely coated. Nicely coated. Now, what I've seen with people on YouTube is that they put far too much glue on and they say peel it off afterwards. A better way, let's make sure that that's not quite on there. A better way to do it is to use the paper. Is stick paper on all the way around. The idea of using paper is that the glue will stick more effectively to the paper. At the moment it's very slippy, so it's going to get into that groove. But when it's dry, you can peel off the paper and the glue will come off with the paper because it sticks to the paper more effectively than to vinyl. So here we go. And that's the reason why you need paper which is angled, because of course it has to go on the vinyl. And that. Oh boy. If you did get any glue on the paper label and then stuck this paper on top of it, then you may find that you're going to rip your label when you take the paper off. So try not to get the glue on the label. There's a big one there. Okay, you can see there's a bit of glue gone on the table, so I'm just going to put the record flat on there. You can see some of the glue's come along the edges. Hopefully it'll not have touched the label, that's good. Some more glue on the record. Rub it in those grooves quite well. Got a tiny bit of glue on the label there, just using a bit of tissue paper to get it off the label. I don't want any glue on that label at all. And then back to sticking the paper on. That's one A4 sheet of paper which has gone on this record there. Just about covered it. So I'm just patting it down to make sure that it really has stuck on there. It's very slippy. That's going to move around if I was to move it. This record now has to dry. What I tend to do is I pin it up. You can put it next to the wall, but you might find that it takes off some of the paper as it's resting. I pin it up on a rod and let it dry overnight, and then tomorrow we'll peel off and finish off the job. Okay, it's now the next day and the PVA has dried, so all we have to do now is peel these items off. Comes off really easily, or it should do. You can see the PVA is actually attached to the paper, and there are a few marks on the vinyl where PVA is, but we'll get to that in a minute. Just peel all this off. Looking really clean. I don't know if you can see that. Do the other side. It's quite good, isn't it? It's got all the negative imprint of the grooves in there, and all the dust that came off with it. Right, so if you can see along here, there are traces of PVA, and I'll show you how to get rid of that with some gaffer tape. Just going to take a small strip of gaffer tape, or duct tape as you may call it, and just where the PVA is, you just put it on and peel it off. There's a bit here. Now it's gone. It's been more. It's gone. Some here. Gone. Just do this all the way down where there are bits of PVA left. Eventually it's going to get clogged on the gaffer tape, so move to a different part. Okay, so the PVA is mostly gone now. There's only a tiny bit left behind in places. If you just rub your finger along, you can find where there's any residue. There isn't really much on there. Also along the side and along the edge. Let's get some. Anyway. Well, I don't know if you can see that, but that looks pretty good now. There doesn't seem to be much dust at all. There's a few like marks which might have been from doing this in a hurry, but I think it's just ready to play, and we'll give it a go and see how it is. It is an old record, as you can see in the spindle. Around the spindle it's been played a lot, all these marks, so it's never going to sound mint, but if it sounds a lot better than what it did do, then I'll be happy with that. Let's try that. Okay, well, I hope that wasn't too loud for the camera to get the recording, but it sounds a lot better.